Yo, yo, yo. What's up, guys? Back in it for a week 5 review. We are headed into week 6 after completing this week 5 with COVID scares, but we are off and running. The Bills did end up playing the Titans. Titans steamrolled them. Derrick Henry made Josh Norman look like a beach. That boy is a bitch boy. That man flops. That man thinks he's nice, but in all he does is try and punch a fumble out every single time. He gets rocked every single time. Fuck Jay Norman. Fuck 24. He can go suck a cock. Anyways, just a little rant for the day, just had to get that one out there. Heading into a preview of the standings and whatnot, I just want to make a point out for Chad that we are still doing this segment, even though I am not in first. Here we go with a second place standing, and we will go into our details with that. Ragers and Nolan taking it off with the West Coast first place. I will take it in second with Jackson 5 and Rai in third. Top 3 right there. Steel Curtain, Zeppelins, and Will at the bottom of the 3. This is all 2 and 3 middle of the board right here. Top 8 make the playoffs. So, anything can really happen. It's going to be a dogfight to see who gets that 8 seed. Benny Boy Steel Curtain got it last year and ended up winning the league with the 8 seed. A Devontae Parker and Miles Sanders ad, if I'm not mistaken, did help that. But, hey, 550, 600 in the pocket. That's some nice Khan money for sure. Points 4, Nolan at the top of the board with Jackson and Ben. You do really like to see yourself. They're in the top 3 and are at the top 2, I should say, for points 4. I am all the way down. Oh no, I'm not too far. I'm at 4, so not too bad. But you really do like to see yourself at the top for points 4 if you are at the top of the board. But second place standings with the 4th isn't overall too bad. There's been a lot of unlucky matchups here as we scroll into the points against. Ben was at the bottom of the board last week, but he is sliding back into 5th. The points against, 760, it's a whole 50 points ahead of anyone else. That's the biggest gap by far. He's just been getting unlucky. He's definitely going to slide in the playoffs here. I think toward the end of this season, he'll be getting some more luckier matchups, or not lucky to say, but more favorable for sure. Chad right there at the middle with the most moves as well, which we're going to go into. We all know the waiver priority, so that's dog shit. But Chad with a commanding 25-man move lead on anyone. There was a little update there, I guess. I don't know why it keeps doing that. But like I said, Chad at the top taking control. Cisse at the bottom of the board, not making too many moves. He does. I know I was roasting him for having Le'Veon, but who knows where he's going to sign? That's a great hold right there. McCaffrey seems to be coming back in a little bit. We know how those trade offers went today. Let's just ban Luke from hitting 4th and 20s line from here on out. But Chase Edmonds, we'll get into your team in a bit. We'll save that for the segments later. But, moves, points 4, points against, streaks, Bobby Woods with losing 2. But, the standings are the standings. And, again, this is a top 8 league, a little different than other leagues. But, just giving everyone a chance, see what happens. We'll go into our matchups here for this is Chad and I's for this week, which we'll get into later. But the week 5, we'll start with Ant versus Lino, 3rd and Schlong versus Bonchon, super surprise. Josh Allen coming back to earth a little bit with an 18-point game. He really needed him to pop off and seal that Tuesday night victory for him. Allen ended up getting benched in the second half. The final drive. I don't know what I was thinking there. That was not the second half. He got benched. He got benched for the final drive, which definitely would have gotten him, 0.5, less, enough to get the dub, in my opinion. They were driving there. They didn't score, but they were throwing the ball to try and get some garbage time points, and I think Allen would have gotten that dub. But, a win is a win. Lino with 2 close L's, which does not help at all with injury. But, if you could have prevailed and got a couple more dubs with Golladay, Fournette, Godwin, everyone on the bench hurt. With a bye as well. It's a tough start. But Baltimore D has really been balling. Will Lutz with a 15-piece for your kicker. Higbee was not has not been projecting to do so well lately. But, everyone saw him and Goff connecting at the end of the year. So, we'll see what he can do. Zeke and Jonnu Smith are looking really good. McKinnon is going to come back to earth here with a Mostert back in the lineup. But your wideouts really do need some help. I mean, Pascal, Tate, and Traquan, that's a tough 3 start right there. I mean, you might want to try and make some moves wherever you can. I mean, maybe sell one of your tight ends or try and get a. I mean, you have Godwin and Galladay, but I mean, some depth would be nice at the position. Moving on to Ant's team, Deshaun Watson, maybe taken a little earlier than you wanted, but I mean, he is fantasy relevant now. Not balling too hard per se, but I mean, he is doing everything that a QB1 should do. I mean, 26 is not too bad at all. D-Hop coming in with a 25 piece, DJ Moore with a 19, Debo Samuel 4 points, but I think Brandon Ayuk had a little better of a game, and especially with Jimmy G getting benched. I mean, who knows what's going on in that QB room? They're not looking too good as coming off the Super Bowl high. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I mean, we'll see. Le'Veon has been reported to be signing with the Chiefs, so if that happens, his floor and his value will definitely drop with Le'Veon in the picture now. Latavius Murray was an interesting start. I mean, he did get 7 points, but, I mean, you don't really have many other... Oh, Justin Jackson, I mean, you dropped Joe Kelly, but, I mean, you scooped the better one of the two, in my opinion, and didn't play him. But, I mean, it was the first game without Eckler, so it's kind of hard to tell. T. Higgins has been low-key really average. I mean, he's been doing well. Deontay Johnson I've been roasting for the past few weeks and is trash. I mean, I don't know what's wrong with Deontay Johnson, but Chase Claypool with 4 titties, that's pretty insane. Mark Andrews, tight end 1. I mean, he is as good as it gets. I mean, him and Lamar have really been connecting. Lamar's been having an off year for sure, but, I mean, Mark Andrews has been picking the slack right where it left off. And, I mean, this was as close as it gets, Ant. I mean, huge win for you, but, I mean, tough moving forward, but hey, you'll take that dub. Moving on to Ben versus Ben. Steel Curtain versus 4th and 20. 156 put up by Ben. 27 from Fitzpatrick. Metcalf is an absolute stud. I mean, he's caught a touchdown in every game. I'm pretty sure, look at that, 19, 19, 19, 14, 27. There's the one without the titty, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, touchdown, 2 touchdowns. He's a stud. I mean, how many teams passed on him? Could you imagine if he was on the Packers right now with Rodgers or just any other team that passed on him? It's just insane to go back and think about. Jarvis Landry with a nice average game, and Gallup. We'll see how he does with Dalton. You never know. I mean, that QB change might get him a favorite up. We'll see who he comes out and likes. Chase Edmonds with the 20-piece. Carson with 19. Great hold and start. I mean, you were starting Edmonds a little earlier, but it looks like it's paying off now. I mean, he might be taking over the show. Kenyon Drake really hasn't been doing well at all this year. John Brown was the interesting start. I know you left him in probably thinking he was going to play, but, I mean, that wasn't even COVID-related. He was hurt on his knee, so it was an interesting start there. I mean, you could have started, anyone else and gotten a few more points, but, 156 with a goose egg, that's pretty well played. Moving over to Steel Curtain, Drew Brees, Odell, DJ Chark, Sammy Watkins. Joe Mixon has been playing. You're not going to get 40 from him every week, but, he has been consistent, and that's all you can really ask. Mostert was back, so that was huge. As I was saying, cut into McKinnon's points there. Michael Thomas coming off. I believe he got suspended for the Monday night game for fighting with a teammate during practice or something like that. So that's sad to see that he couldn't get back on the field because of disciplinary actions. But, he will be looking to come back next week. Devontae Freeman was 16. He got in the end zone with like 60 or 70 yards rushing. Your running backs are kind of turning it around with David Johnson, Mixon, Mostert. If Freeman can continue to just pile one in week in, week out, you might be able to sell some for some wide receiver depth. Watkins in your starting with A.J. Green. I know Michael Thomas is coming back, but, you're deeper at running back than wide out. Maybe get a tight end. Evan Ingram did get one called back. He should have had two against Dallas. Off that fake field goal play, but it got called back for an illegal shift penalty, which was kind of bullshit. I have him in another league, but pretty solid. As soon as Thomas comes back, I feel like your team will be able to make that push to try and get into the playoffs. But dominant win here from Ben, and I would like to say 4th and 20 is one of my manager of the week considerations, so stay tuned to the end of the segment to find out who gets that. To moving on to the Zeppelins versus Goats team. Chad versus Will. I know this was a highly anticipated matchup with the trash talks, with the trades, with the declines, with the trades allowed in, trades allowed out. But I mean, ended up getting a W in the books for Goat's team and Willa. He started Kirk Cousins, which was interesting play there, and he's playing Seattle. But I mean, I don't really know if that was your best chance. I know there were some other people on the waiver wire with Rodgers' buyout, but I mean, I don't know. I guess you were just feeling some Kirk action. Cooper Kupp, he's been as consistent as it gets. I mean, he did have slow that week one, but I mean, he is coming back to earth with Robert Woods and Everett getting more touches. Juju started out really well, but I mean, he's been coming back to earth as well himself. I mean, Chase Claypool with four touchdowns. I mean, no one's going to eat off that. Stephon Diggs, he has been eating. He has been one of my favorite fantasy / any receiver to watch. He's been fun. I love his attitude, love how he plays. He's a G. I wish the Skins made a bid for him, but I was reading up on the trade that the Bills sent for him, and apparently they were trying to get Diggs from Minnesota for, I believe, 2 years before he became on the market. So as soon as the Bills GM found out that he was on the market, he just jumped on it, and the Vikings couldn't refuse that offer and took that deal. And you might as well sign him to Buffalo. I mean, you're not going to see him in Minnesota too many often. But Joe Kelly with the plug-and-play there. I mean, Justin Jackson, as I was saying, in Ants matchup was the guy to go with. But, I mean, Kenyon Drake could have played instead of Joe Kelly. It would have gotten you a few more points. But, I mean, you still pulled out the dub. I mean, the bench isn't looking too bad. Good thing you didn't start Russell Gage again in your flex, or else that would have killed you. But, I mean, he did better than Schultz. I'm geeked. Never mind. You should have started Gage. But this is just, I mean, good win. But moving on to the Zeppelins, Pat Mahomes, Devontae Parker, Justin Jefferson. LaShawn's been really good. I mean, that Swift Army knife, 14, I believe, is what he's getting every week. Number 14. I mean, he's just being used all over the field. James Robinson, he's a beast. We don't need to say anything more about that. Cam Akers, Zach Ertz, interesting play with Akers and Zacchaeus or whatever his name is. I mean, dog shit trash. But hopefully Julio can turn things around. Aaron Jones next week off the bye, coming back against me. Definitely some points left on the bench here. Not manager in the material week. Like in my boat, if I started Herbert and a couple other guys, I would have gotten the dub. But I mean, it's good to see that you have points on the bench. But I mean, I think you just scooped those guys. So it's kind of hard to trust people that you just pick off the wire. And, I mean, that's waiver wire pickup 101. More people you pick up, you don't know who to start, and you're going to leave them on your bench. And if you leave them on your bench, then you're going to be pissed. And if you're going to be pissed because you got the L. So, I mean, pretty average game here. Nothing too fancy, but Will did pull out the dub. Good dub to stay alive, Will. Chad, you're going to lose next week. Bobby Woods and the boys. Bobby Trees and the boys versus the fantasy team. He prevailed and came out, won by 8. Everyone thought that he was going to only put up 50 points, as he said. But now he's flexing, and now he thinks he's going to win the league. But we'll let him have it. We'll let him ride out his high. You know, he thought he was going to lose, and then he pulls out a win. You know what I'm saying? But Darrell Henderson could have been played, but we all know about how he didn't get off work or was renting an apartment and couldn't switch the lineup, which was unfortunate. But, I mean, you still pulled out the dub. I mean, you would have put up even more points. But I would like to say, even though you did leave points on the bench and you were working, you did have time to make changes, Luke. That isn't really a full-on excuse. So, I mean, that's definitely going to bite into your manager of the week consideration, which you are on the board for. I mean, you should have started Henderson. You should have started these guys before you were put in that position. But, I mean, great dub here. I mean, you didn't even start the tight end. I know in that one group chat you thought he was going to fumble and lose you the game, so you didn't start him. So now you're trying to trade him. But, I mean, Jared Cook's nice. But, I mean, dropping Noah Fant and letting Rye scoop him was huge. But, I mean, Jameson Crowder has been balling. Calvin Ridley, hopefully ATL can keep playing with the COVID from their D tackle. That rookie got it. He probably went out to get some pus and, bagged it. But moving on to Pat's team, Matt Ryan, he needs to go. I mean, he's been shitty week in and week out. Robert Woods finally caught that deep ball against the footballers. Jared Goff has been playing really well. Amari Cooper didn't really do much at all that game. I know Dak did get hurt, but, I mean, he was still playing for a little bit. It's kind of weird to see Cooper not getting too many touches and CeeDee Lamb taking over. And, there's just so many high-powered people on that offense. It's kind of hard to see who the play will go to. Slayton, that was a great start at the wide receiver with 20 points, but it still didn't get you the dub. Dalvin Cook is hurt, but he did get you that 19 before leaving. But good thing you do have Madison. I know you've been saving him, and he put up 16 and they put up 19. That's crazy. He's going to be a stud. He should get traded. Some McKinnon status, McKinnon was on the Vikings. He left, but, now they got Madison. Jared Goff with 25. Rojo, man. What are you going to do with Rojo? Rojo's nice. Stop hating on Rojo. But nah, you're really deep at running back, Pat. So, I don't know, maybe trade Rojo or Madison now or whatever you're thinking. Maybe get some depth at wide receiver for Slayton. But, that's tough. Another tough L. Matt Ryan is really costing you games, but 7 points. Hayden Hurst was a good start. 2 points doesn't even hurt you, but that Matt Ryan 7 points, that's killer. That's killer. Should have been a dub for you, but the Jared Cook start too. That's 12 more points, 13 more points if it was closer. So depending how Ryan played, but good week for Luke. Good dub. Manager of the week consideration right there, and we'll see who gets that at the end of the segment. The Yaxon 5 versus Paydak. This was another trash-talking matchup. Rye versus Napoleon. Lamar Jackson, like I was saying earlier, has really been playing average. Nothing too crazy like last year. You're not getting 2-3 rushing touchdowns every game. You're really just, getting an average team with that defense balling out. Adam Thielen, another two-titty game. He's been balling. Tyler Lockett kind of, falling back behind Metcalf's shadow. Metcalf is really that guy. Robbie Anderson has been balling in Carolina with Bridgewater. He just really needed to get out of that Jet system, and look what he's doing now. Devin Singletary, even with Zach Moss out, looked to be, get all the touches. But TJ Yeldon did get some touches and kind of looked more explosive than Singletary. I don't know if he's fighting, an injury or something's bugging him, but, I don't know. It's tough to see what Singletary is doing. Kamara's been balling. We don't need to say anything about him. Gronk is now off the team, but, you did pick up Tonyan and Font now. Noah Fant. So, that is good to see that you're a little bit deeper at tight end now. Brandon Ayuk, Zerline with 14 piece, which is insane for a kicker. But that San Fran D, if Dak doesn't get hurt in this game, that probably would get the dub. He was driving, they were playing. So, it's hard to say, but, Dak Prescott technically now costing you back-to-back games with a pick and an injury is tough. But, he's now off the team. He's out for the season. So we'll see where you move from there. But Mike Evans and Brady have been balling. They've been looking really good. Will Fuller is back with Watson, with Cooks even getting 160 yards. Kareem Hunt got that 1A spot until Nick Chubb comes back. He should be back. I think it's been 2 weeks now, so another 3 or 4 weeks, and Chubb is expected to be back on the team. David Johnson, that's not even David Johnson. That's Duke Johnson, isn't it? Yes, Duke Johnson. That was more of a plug and play there with all the players out. And due to COVID, Jerry Jeudy, James White, N'Keal Harry. But Jimmy Graham has been playing really well. But you do have Kittle. Tough start there. Christian Kirk was a great pickup and start. I think he's going to be really nice moving forward behind D-Hop. That's just another tough L here. Napoleon, really unlucky. I don't know. I would go ahead and drop Barkley. He's out for the year. He ain't coming back. So, that's 2 more spots on your roster with Dak and Barkley gone. But really tough L. Yeah, Ryan, no manager of the week for you with your expectation to be 157 and you only put up 124. Your efficiency definitely could have been a little bit better, and it's tough to see, but good win. You're in top 3 and for a reason. So we'll go ahead and move on from there to Nolan versus myself. Oh, I gotta blow out some boogers there. But we got to move to myself versus Nolan. Like I was saying on my side, if I were to have started Herbert and Brown, I would have gotten the dub. It's just really Scotty Miller in that Thursday night game. I didn't think Tennessee was going to play at all because of that coach testing positive the day that the Thursday night game came out. So I got worried and I started Miller over Brown, which was a big mistake, and it cost me the game. Even if I started Brown, that would have given me, 144-42. So I would have lost by 0.4 regardless. So, I mean, I needed Herbert and Brown. So that makes it a little bit better because Brown was definitely more of my one consideration of starting than Herbert. I mean, I was kind of trusting Bridgewater more. So, I mean, that makes me feel a little bit better. It helps me sleep a little better at night. But, I mean, my team, I did leave points on the bench, which is always nice. You know, it's tough to see an L and see that there's nothing you could have done about it. I mean, that just sucks. I mean, when your team is just losing but there's no points anywhere, that's even more of a sad sight. So, I mean, it is looking positive. I mean, I could have pulled the dub out, but, I mean, I had a weak play from McLaurin and Boyd this week. Cincinnati just got bottled up by that Ravens defense. It wasn't even fair. McLaurin was dealing with Kyle Allen change. He was dealing with Alex Smith. He was dealing with that rain. We had -6 yards in the second half. It was just not a good week for the Skins. And I ended up starting Gibson, but he got 10 points. I mean, he's been pretty consistent with playing 60-70% of the snaps. Bridgewater, he'll be gone this week. I just tried to plug and play him to see if I could pull something out with Matt Stafford on bye for me this week. But A-Rob has been as consistent as it gets. He's going to be moving nice with Foles or Trubisky. Doesn't matter. He's been playing well. Jacobs finally had a 2-touchdown game. Waller has been consistent. I like my team moving forward. So, I mean, Nick Chubb will be back in about a month. So, I mean, hopefully I can save him for playoff time and coming back in hot. But moving on to Nolan's team, Russell Wilson, Keenan Allen did get hurt. So, I mean, you never know what could have happened. But Tyreek Hill has been a beast. CeeDee Lamb has been a beast. We'll see how CeeDee Lamb comes to connection with Andy Dalton. But, I mean, Andy Dalton was trash in Cincinnati. But, I mean, this is the best cast he's had around him in his whole career, no doubt. I would say. I know he did have A.J. Green. But, I mean, I would say there's definitely more talent on the Cowboys offense than anything close to Cincy ever had. So we'll see how Andy Dalton, CeeDee Lamb do. Todd Gurley popped off for you. He's been playing really well. We'll see how the durability of his knee and how he starts to fatigue. You know, I mean, it is a real question. I mean, that Atlanta offense is electric at some points, but, I mean, they have been playing like crap. And feeding the ball Gurley over and over and over again. We'll see how he can take it. Same with James Conner, but he's been balling. Steelers have been balling. They've been looking really good. So, I mean, 2 goose eggs, and he still pulled out the dub. So, I mean, good shit, Nolan. 144 put up. The efficiency could have been a little better, obviously, with the goose eggs. But, I mean, 2 goose eggs and only 4 points under the efficiency. That's really good. The efficiency was not good on my end. So, I mean, tough L for me there. Good win, Nolan. You are now in first, and I am in second. But we're going to go ahead and slide into some Week 6 matchups that I'd like to get into. I really want to look at the Jackson 5 versus the fantasy team. I think this is a really big matchup versus 3 and 4. The winner of this, will be able to trade spots. I believe 3 and 2, yeah. So they'll be able to trade spots, whoever loses or wins this game. We'll see if ATL does play. Kyler Murray that Monday night is going to be huge against Dallas. If that gets into a shootout, things could get really out of hand for Rye in the fantasy squad taking over there. But, I mean, Darrell Henderson back in the lineup. Trey Burton picked up. If Devontae Adams, he's full on healthy now, huh? No Q next to him, weird to see, practicing. Yeah, so, I mean, he's back. Good that you have him in the flex. But your bench is looking pretty solid, too. Yep, I did drop Tannehill for some QB play, so you did pick him up, I saw. But, I mean, not bad. I mean, both your benches aren't looking bad at all. A few players on bye, so, I mean, we'll see what happens here. And, yeah, that's my matchup to look into for Week 6. We'll go ahead and see what it does from there. But we'll go back to Week 5 here. And we'll go ahead and get a little, drum roll, if you may, a little chat action for Manager of the Week. And after, looking through all the matchups and going through everything, I mean, as I did say in the video, it was between 4th and 20 versus the fantasy team. And my manager of the week this week is Ben Cisse and 4th and 20. The efficiency was off the charts, 156, 30 points above projected stats, and he was projected to lose. It's tough to see against our former manager of the week last week, catching the L. But like I said in the reviews, he was dealing with injuries and a bunch of different stuff. But, I mean, Cisse, his bench is looking pretty solid, and I'm really intrigued to see what that Le'Veon Bell signing does. I mean, if he goes to the Chiefs or the Bills, I believe we're the top two teams that said that they were interested. That's going to be really dangerous, especially if Chase Edmonds comes into the play and just takes over that 1A role. This team's looking really strong, and good shit, Cisse. That's my manager of the week this week. I know, Luke, you're already saying you're going to get snubbed, but, I mean, dude, you did leave players on the bench. What can you do when you do that? I mean, work or not, you got 7 days to make lineup changes. But, good overall week 5. We got week 5 in the books, and we'll go ahead and, see how week 6 goes. And I'll catch you boys next week for the week 6 reviews and week 7 matchups. Good stuff, boys. Take it easy. Hope you enjoy.